All right, this is the Law Live Audio Wrestling. My name is Chris Tidwell. That is Bradie Redham. My camera seems to be doing some weird stuff right now, but we'll get this thing figured out. Listen, Bradie, I got a question for you.
What's up, brother?
When was the last time you had a good, solid referee that was involved in ongoing story in the WWE, in AEW, in TNA, anywhere on TV?
I won't quote the years, but I think it's about 9 years ago now. Brad Maddox. Brad Maddox was the referee on Raw that was screwing everybody over, and then eventually
censored because YouTube's a bitch.
That's different.
That's what happened.
Okay, that's what happened.
All right, so yeah, I think this is the last time that we've had a major referee storyline on
right?
on a TV product like that. Yeah.
Who's going through time? Who's been the biggest one for you? Would it be a Nick Patrick? Would it be a Danny Davis?
That's the man right there, Danny Davis.
Okay, so that was probably not everybody, because there's a lot of young people out there that watch this and listen to this on all of their podcast providers. I think that for myself and probably you and a lot of people, the Danny Davis storyline and the way that was presented was probably the biggest one ever.
It was.
Right. You have guest referees that come in and out, but I think that was the biggest one.
The Hebner screw job, and I don't mean the Brett one, but the Hebner screw job when it came to the twins.
The twins,
the Hogan gimmick.
Yeah, I get that stuff too, but that wasn't a long out, you know what I mean? Drawn out, like you had, oh, fuck, here comes fucking Danny Davis again. You know what I mean? You knew you were in for some shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time to bring that back.
Okay.
And I think there's a perfect time to bring that back and who to use and where to use them. What's the biggest story in the WWE right now?
Currently right now?
I mean, that has been
in the entire company.
It has been ongoing. The biggest story for the last year.
Obviously, the Bloodline.
Bloodline is the biggest story.
And we're talking about Truth and Judgment Day, either one. Okay, and that's me being serious. That's me being serious.
Okay. But Bloodline is definitely the biggest storyline that's going on right now. And it's still the biggest storyline probably, and this doesn't have the same key players that it had. Roman Reigns is gone. Yep. Right? He's not there. We're building a new level. We're building the new characters in the story with Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tongaloa. And we're building that, and Paul Heyman is doing a fantastic job. But I think that it's going to come to a point where you need to have, maybe that extra little ace in the hole, that extra little nugget in the pocket that you can use. And what better way to do it than to have your own referee that's on the Bloodline payroll, right? But he doesn't have to be, and then you think to yourself, which referee? Which one would we use? Well, I think that the obvious story is that he needs to be of island descent, right? If it's going to be the Bloodline, you keep it in the family. You don't want to take the chance of having an outsider know the Bloodline secrets and get in on all of that. It's already bad enough. You got Paul Heyman in there if you're Solo Sikoa, who's teaching this stuff. So he's got to be of island descent. Well, we both know that there is not any Samoan or, Tongan referees in the WWE, but there is a Fijian. There is absolutely a Fijian of Fijian descent. And he happens to be a referee that we know very well.
I see where you're going here. For our listeners, if you can't put two and two together yet, I do personally feel like this is my biased and non-biased opinion that this is the best referee in the company right now. I think I know who you're talking about. Who is that, sir?
Well, let's talk about head referee over at NXT. I'm talking about Adrian Butler. He looks Bloodline. He is of island descent. It's already written. It's a great way to draw somebody up. And I think it needs to happen. I think it needs to be pitched. Now, rumor has it, stuff like this may have been pitched. Whether or not it's fallen on deaf ears or whether or not it's something that somebody is thinking about. But when you've got somebody like, Jesse James involved there who loves stuff like this.
Okay.
maybe he's pitched this already. I don't know.
So how would you introduce him as the Bloodline referee and part of the Bloodline family? If you were to just take a random whatever, just give me a scenario of how this makes sense.
Sure, I think it makes sense for them to show up. If they're going to start running roughshod in that, I think that the Bloodline needs to be seen on every one of the shows. I think the Bloodline needs to be seen on SmackDown, on Raw, on NXT. And if you go down to NXT, that's where you play the story out.
Well,
that's
on
where
NXT,
so you have him go down there. You have Bloodline show up, go down there. They're in a tag match. Let's say it's against the Good Brothers. Let's say they're fighting Gallows and Anderson or whatever. They go in there, and Adrian Butler is the referee, and it comes down to some shenanigans, and Adrian Butler ends up screwing over, right, the Good Brothers.
There's a lot to go off there because you have The Rock's daughter is now the general manager of NXT as well. So this story kind of writes itself. You have a lot to play with here.
Right. There's a lot of directions that you could go with this, but you get them down there. And then once it's been established that he's done the screw job for them, bloop, he could just walk right out of NXT and show up on SmackDown, show up and be their personal, the same way that Paul Heyman is the wise man, the consigliere for that specific group. He is a licensed referee. He can do it.
It'd be so cool to hear promos like of Paul being like, and now we have to get a non-biased, impartial referee that knows how to do his job. So the Bloodline had to this could be good.
I'm telling you, I think it's a great angle.
I think you're onto something. Are they going to purge our stuff here?
Well, listen, like I said, rumor has it.
Rumors.
That this may have already been pitched.
So this isn't our idea. This isn't your idea. Is this your theory and you're trying to pitch this? Is something going on that I don't know about? What are you doing? Do I have a new job? Did you get me hired somewhere? I don't like traveling.
Well, you won't have to. Sorry.